there's still always work to do, clients to take care of. So yes, it's good to take a break every now and then, look back at success, reflect, but you can't dwell on that. There's always somebody that needs help, and you need to be responding to that.
Welcome back to the Sterling Family Law Show. I am your host, Tyler Dolph, and also the CEO of our law firm only marketing agency, Rocket Clicks, that was born out of our very own family law firm, Sterling Lawyers, that has grown to over 27 attorneys. Today, we continue our owner-operator series with Peter, who is a law firm owner out of Indiana, who's been practicing for almost 40 years. He spent over 10 years at a large law firm learning the ins and outs of running a business, as well as which practice areas he wanted to focus on, and now has been running his own firm for over 25 years. Peter, thank you so much for joining us on the Sterling Family Law Show. Love to introduce yourself, if you wouldn't mind. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started.
Okay, sure. My name is Peter John Agostino. I've been practicing law. I'm starting my 40th year. I live in South Bend, Indiana. I'm born and raised here. Went to Notre Dame Law School in the community and decided to stick around here and went into practice. And so that's the starting point.
Did you start your own firm right out of law school?
No, right out of law school, I joined a law firm that the partner had been a classmate of my dad's back at Central High School here in South Bend, and there was a strong connection there. They were looking for a litigation attorney, and I came out of school and went right to work there. I had clerked there a couple years at Calamaris and Associates. That was the name of the firm. And so I was there for about 10 years, and during that time I met my current partner, Michael Anderson. He was also in that same firm. He was a couple years ahead of me. And we talked about forming our own firm at some point, and eventually we did.
How many years were you at that firm before you guys decided to peel off?
I was there about 10 years.
Okay, so you got a fair amount of experience in learning how to run a firm and all the things.
Yeah, I think what helped me the most in the firm where I was at, I had exposure to a wide range of cases. And it was an insurance defense firm at the time, but the way that operated and the breadth of cases that we were able to handle was, I think, far greater than what exists in today's world. So having that broad range of experience, I think, was a key part of being able to move forward with doing our own firm.
Love it. If you could take us back, you're there for 10 years, which is a long time to finally say, I'm going to go and do this on my own. What was there a moment that really hit you both? Like, okay, this is the time we feel financially secure, whatever it was. Tell us more about that kind of inflection point.
I think both of us were, motivated by being in a position where we were in control, had ownership, and had an opportunity to be more involved in growing the firm in more directions. And that firm was a little more tied into the insurance defense side. And we were getting requests. Both of us are local. We both know lots of people here locally. We both had family locally. And the types of work that was coming into us was much broader than being in that insurance defense realm. So we both went off to different firms for a short period and then came back together. So there was a little bit of an interlude in there. And then we came together and did what we talked about doing.
I love it. So it took like 12 years after?
Yeah, I would say about 12, 13 years, right in that area.
So you leave your firms, you come together to start your current firm. What were some of the things that you expected? Like, okay, yep, this is what I thought it would be. And what were some of the things you're like, holy cow, I did not expect this?
Well, there's a gap between income coming in and income going out to the partners. So you do have to be prepared for that. Your receipts are not there instantly. So there has to be planning, has to be some sacrifice. you're not, when you're an owner, you're not guaranteed a paycheck, and you need to understand that going into it. So I think we were prepared for that, and we quickly added a third partner, Scott Keller, in our venture, and we all made less than what we had been making, but we viewed that as an investment into the future, and it paid off. But that's something that I think a lot of times people may overlook. You can be making a certain amount of income somewhere else, and then here you come on a new venture, and that there's a gap, and you need to be prepared for that.
How long did it take you guys to really get profitable and feel more secure once you started?
I would say we were profitable from the start. It was just a matter of growing that profitability. So I would say within a couple of years we were ahead of where we had been. So and so our firm was also growing at the same time. So you're hiring associates; they need to get paid. So it takes a while to balance the flow out, get a lot of stuff in the pipeline, and have it flowing to the point where your associates are getting paid, they're earning money, they're a positive cash flow, and then with our own production added to the mix, then things started flowing in a way that was better than what we came from.
That's great. So I'm trying to do the math in my head, right? You said you're starting your 30th year, 40th year?
Yeah, I was admitted in 1986, so so I'm in. I guess I'm starting into finishing. I'm in my 39th year, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been running your current firm? That's what, like 20 years?
Yes, it's been plus 20. Maybe we're closing in on 25, I think. Yeah.
You got to throw a party or something.
Yeah, we probably do. And that, I think you have to take moments to do that. I'll tell you that maybe along the way, sometimes I think the attitude here is somewhat stoic in the sense that there's still always work to do, clients to take care of. So yes, it's good to take a break every now and then, look back at success, reflect. But you can't dwell on that. There's always somebody that needs help, and you need to be responding to that.
Love that. Is that how you feel like you've crafted the firm over the last 20 years? Like, what's been the through line or the culture that you've been working hard to build?
I believe that our number one trait is that we focus on taking care of the client. Whether it's, we have a lot of people business in our firm. We represent a lot of personal injury victims, a lot of wrongful death victims. We also represent a lot of businesses. We also have a couple lawyers that do family law, and we also have government entities as clients. And regardless of what type of client you are, we're here to take care of you, help that client the way they need to be helped, personal attention, and really embrace the client in a time of need, and also in terms of guiding them through different areas. It's an attitude, I think, of serving the client.
Hey, family law firm leaders, my partner, Tony Carls, just released his book where he lays bare our precise blueprint for growing Sterling lawyers from 0 to 17 million. This is the blueprint that we still use daily. And Tony explains it in very simple terms. The truth is, this is not simple to do. Success requires and demands hard work, but if you have the patience and the work ethic to do it, your family law firm will succeed.
25 years is an amazing amount of time to run a successful business. I'm sure there have been ups and downs and peaks and valleys. How have you thought about growth over these last 25 years? Have you wanted to, add a bunch of practice areas and attorneys, or have you really been focused on simply serving the client and that will fuel growth to the extent that you need it?
I would say it's been a combination of things, and I think that you'll find that any business that's growing is not relying on one single mechanism for that to happen. So obviously, let's start with the good service to clients, referrals from other clients, referrals from people in the legal community that see what you do and how you take care of people. One thing I like to pride ourselves in is we do and have done a lot of representations of other attorneys. So I think that speaks well for us. So that's one component. Another component is, let's say, accidental. Someone comes to you, they have something to offer. You have to recognize that, and you can then put that in action. And another trend is to be intentional, where you're out there seeking growth. We're a general litigation and transaction firm in the civil arena, so we do have some guardrails on what we're feeding into our firm. So we don't do criminal defense work. We're not in that realm. There's certain types of civil transactions we don't get into at the high end, like public stock offerings or that sort of thing. But within a broad general litigation and transaction practice, you come across opportunities. You have to recognize them. You have to be nimble in terms of reacting to them. I think that's one thing that's helped our firm is we don't have a very complicated bureaucratic management view. We joke about our stairwell partner meetings. So we run into each other, we talk about something, we make a decision, and we support each other. And we try not to do anything that without getting everybody on board, having a strong consensus, and so that I think that helps as well too.
Great. So if you had to start a firm today from scratch, what would you do differently?
I'd focus very strongly on systems, and I would pay attention to how to incorporate that in with AI and a bunch of other technology that did not exist when we started. So I think that's important to have that because the expectation from the client who's exposed to all that, I think creates, a feeling among the clients that, you need to keep up with the times as well. And a document or a contract that might have taken 3 or 4 or 7 hours to create in the past, now it's going to take an hour or less if you've got the right systems in place. And so I don't know that I would do things differently in the way we started out, but being attentive to what's happening today, you need to make sure. And this was an old piece of advice to me from when I graduated from law school, is build systems. So you have a set of documents that you need for incorporating a company, shareholder agreements, and so forth. Have those systems in place. If you're doing real estate transactions, have your lease documents ready. You're building your forms so that you can be efficient for your client. I think that is a helpful part of being able to serve your clients in an efficient way. I think the other thing is that I think is a constant is you have to pay attention to your clients, interact with them, communicate with them, and just be present with them. That is something I think that technology may change some of the ways you do that. You might have more Zoom meetings instead of in face-to-face meetings, but you're still interacting with the client.
Yeah, I think as we think about AI, it's going to make our jobs more efficient, but coming back to being a great human, being able to listen to your clients, understand what they actually need, because sometimes they won't tell you, and do a great job during the case are all things that AI won't be able to replace, right? So
Right. Yeah.
back to the human connection. It's funny how things come around. I totally agree with that perspective.
Good. Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's also too, as I'm rambling here on a few topics, but I think you have to have a sensitivity to how people in need react to crisis in their lives, whatever that might be, and understanding, how human nature is, how people suffer through trials and tribulations in their own life, and how they react. And because you're going to get clients that are going to be upset, lash out, don't understand what's going on. And it's easy, I think, if you've got thin skin, to feel you're being attacked, or you're doing something wrong. And that's not the case. So it's basically letting them blow off some steam sometimes, and then just focusing on what they need, and then bringing them back to that. And I found over the years that if you can do that with clients, they do appreciate that, and you build a close bond with them, because they've been with you in their worst sometimes, and you still bring them around to the good, and that has a lasting effect.
Well, and they're going to come back, right? With a multi-practice firm, if you do the right thing the first time, they're going to come back when they need something else.
Yeah. And one thing that I've seen over the years too is that with a lot of our repeat clients, one thing that I hear is, "Hey, I know you're busy, but is there someone in your firm that can handle this for me?" And I like that, because it's a trust factor. They're trusting me to put them with the right person. They understand I can't handle everything, and it's a way to build the practice for the next generations. So that is rewarding to hear that.
100%. That's why you do it.
Yep. Well, there's a motivation there, yes.
Peter, as you thought about coming on this podcast, was there any additional wisdom you wanted to share with our audience as we're kind of closing out?
Don't be afraid to do good, and don't have fear of the process and the fact that sometimes things may seem overwhelming. You have to have perseverance in this profession. I think you have to, if you want to maintain a good family life in a profession that's very demanding, then you have to communicate with your family. You can't assume they understand what you're doing or going through. So I've been blessed to be married now for 38 years. I have a loving, supporting spouse, and it's important to your overall well-being, but that requires communication with your family, so you can balance things out, and you can't overlook that, because if you're not in a good spot, you're not going to be able to serve your clients well. So I would add that to the mix.
Love it. It's so good and so true, right? Like you can't You mentioned when you started the firm that you had to understand that you were going to take a pay cut, and that as an owner, you're not always guaranteed payroll. And if you don't have the support at home to be able to make some of those decisions and take those sacrifices, you never have the chance to get the big reward at the end.
That's right. That's right. So so you can't like take for granted that everyone's just going to go along with you. You do got to like
communicate.
You got to communicate. So we all fall short of that. I know I have over the years, but it's something that I think is important for us to constantly remind ourselves on. We do have to communicate. More or less, obviously not the secrets of the profession or the confidential communications, but just where we're at. I'm going to be late tonight. I have to go take a deposition out of town. Whatever it is, people need to understand what's going on in the big picture, and that way they can be more supportive.
That's right. Yeah, nobody likes a surprise.
Exactly.
Especially our spouses.
Yes. Yes.
Peter, I appreciate you. I appreciate your insights and your time this morning. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.